Oh hey, didn't see you there. Just watering my plants. You know, for a long time I told myself I was terrible at taking care of plants. It's weird how a little bit of attentiveness, consistency, and patience proved that wrong. Surprise! This video isn't about plants. It's about the universe. That's right, buckle the f up, Buttercup. In this video, I'm gonna reveal 3 truths about the process that I've realized while learning Korean and growing plants, and I'm also gonna share with you a practical formula you can use to measure your progress a little bit better. By the end of this video, you too should have a much better understanding of how to maximize your language learning efficiency. This is a Monstera deliciosa, and I've had this plant for about 5 years now. When I first got her, she was pretty small. She only had maybe 2 leaves. She was about this big, maybe a little bit smaller. I wanted her to thrive, give me these big, beautiful green leaves with these interesting shapes, mostly to fill out my apartment. Now, just like the smarty pants that I am, I put in a lot of work. I looked up optimal watering schedules. I got the fertilizer that was, the right chemical composition to get maximum leaf growth. I looked up the exact light exposure conditions and even bought artificial lights to make sure that she got the maximum amount of attention that she could possibly get. Now, all of this was pretty time-consuming, expensive, and also, frustrating. And even though I did all of that, she didn't really grow all that much. As you can imagine, I was pretty disappointed by this, but I got more plants. A lot more plants. But as I got more plants, I kind of stopped doing all of the special little stuff, mostly because I just didn't have time. And you want to know something I realized? This Monstera was growing at the exact same rate. It became very clear to me that no matter what, I could not make these plants grow on my terms. And I think the exact same thing is true for our language learning. Patience is not just some fluffy, abstract concept. It's like a virtue. And working within the laws of the universe is probably in your best interest. So here's truth number 1. Everything in our universe is governed by a set of laws. And we're not really in control of anything. Think about it. We feel in control of certain processes because, we understand how long they take. Like boiling water takes about 3 minutes. Having a baby, 9 months, 10 if you're Korean. But are we really in control of these processes while they're happening? Not at all. When you're cooking, countless little molecular reactions are all happening automatically. When a bone heals, millions of cells are just doing their thing, whether you like it or not. So when we want to achieve something, what we really have to do is navigate all of these automatic processes that follow these laws in order to achieve our intended outcome. Our role is to just maintain the best conditions that we can. Really, all that we're in control of are the intentions we choose to hold on to. But actually, Ian, you say, dorkily, I might add, can't we speed things up with science, like plant growth hormones or anabolic steroids or something like that? Thanks, I'm glad you mentioned that. You see, in that situation as well, all we're doing is maintaining optimal conditions. I could give all of these trees here the perfect amount of fertilizer, the exact right amount of water, and the optimal sunlight that they're gonna want to get maximum growth. But the growth is just that, maximum growth. I can't make them grow any faster. I can just encourage them to grow as fast as they're gonna grow. There's a natural limit, a law, if you will, that limits how fast and how they're gonna grow. And what you'll probably find out, like I did through raising plants and learning Korean and all that stuff, is that there's often a marginal difference between highly optimized conditions and pretty good conditions. Even with the most scientifically optimized, perfect conditions, you are not gonna grow one of these trees in a day, a week. See where I'm going with this? Surprise again. This video isn't about plants or the universe, it's about learning Korean. So, do you remember my Monstera? And how I told you that sometimes doing less gets you better results? If not, it's only been a few minutes, lock in, bro. So here's truth number 2. Patience emerges when we deeply understand the processes that we're engaged in. But think about it, when you genuinely understand that certain things just take a certain amount of time, waiting for them just doesn't feel the same. It's just reality. Babies come when they're ready, or so I'm told. Plants grow as they grow. Bones heal as they heal. I think when we have an understanding of our role in facilitating the processes that get us the outcomes that we want, we're patient. Patience isn't even a consideration. And this same principle shows up in language learning. We don't know specifically which inputs beget which outcomes. We don't really know which drop of water is going to go into which capillary in which leaf on the plant when we give it water. And in the same way, we don't specifically know which scenario, in which context, with which history of hearing the word puida is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back and, initiates that acquisition in your brain. But you know what? That's okay. Because what we do know is that achieving certain outcomes is more or less doing a lot of the good stuff and a little of the bad stuff. PhD, please. Not yet? Okay, then let me present you with my unified theory of everything. It is my privilege to present to you my universal growth formula. Growth equals time times consistency times proper conditions. Simple, elegant, demure, illuminating. And it works for plants too. So let's define the variables here. The simplest one is time, which is basically just a law that we have to navigate. This will always be positive as long as we're engaged in the process. Consistency is a choice that we make to show up. This is measuring how and how often we act on our intentions. Finally, proper conditions is just doing lots of good stuff and a minimal amount of bad stuff, and at the very least, more good stuff than bad stuff. So here's why the formula uses multiplication. If any of these three values is 0 or negative, it tanks the growth because obviously they're multiplied. But it helps you to target specifically what you're doing wrong much, much easier. Another very cool feature of this very, very complex formula is that you can calculate that growth. You can run that calculation whenever you feel like it. Having a bad month? Try again. Having a bad week? Start over. Don't let a bad day tank your progress. Reset that bad boy. This morning was a bust? Now, this formula isn't like a way to hack the system necessarily, but it is a tool for cognitive restructuring. It's a good way to help get your intentions realigned with all of these natural laws that govern these processes that you don't have any control over. It's not quite as sexy as like learn Korean in 30 days or here's my 12-month study plan, but this has the distinct advantage of actually working. And remember how when I talked about Kimchi Reader, we talked about how it helps you stay in that sweet spot? This is what I'm talking about. This is like one of the best times ever to be learning a foreign language because we have so many tools that help us maintain those proper conditions. By the way, if you're interested in trying Kimchi Reader, I do have a 10% discount code available to all Korean Patch subscribers. So scroll on down and check that out and get you some of them proper conditions. Now, some of you are probably thinking, again, dorkily, Ian, what if I invest all of my time in some kind of method that turns out to not even be that effective? What if I'm wasting my time? And I get it. Nobody wants to invest in something that's not going to give them any returns. But here's the thing. If gardeners or farmers kept digging up the soil to check if the roots had started growing from the seeds they planted, they'd end up with nothing at all. The roots grow first, and that's growth you can't see. So language learners who jump between methods over and over again and dive into an entirely new process and shun the old one are just digging up the seeds.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
You need to give your brain time to develop those roots. And I'm realizing now that this is starting to sound like a brainworm analogy, so let's get off of this one. Now, I'm not saying you can't or shouldn't ever change up your approach or try something new, but maybe instead of thinking about changing approaches like planting new seeds, we should look at it like repotting a plant. You need to take it out and bring the roots and the soil it's already in into a new context and grow into that one. So, if you've made it this far in the video, I want to pass the mic to you. Well, I gotta keep talking. Why do you think we're so impatient with language learning when we are patient with other natural processes that we understand? Share your thoughts in the comments. For me, I don't know. But I do think that if patience is an expression of our understanding, and if understanding is knowing that progress is really out of our control, then I think patience is progress. So, water your plants. And maybe stop spending so much time fighting with people in Discord servers. After you've shared your thoughts in the comments, like, subscribe for the algorithm god, and share the video to maybe help get this idea out to more people who need to hear it. I definitely wish someone would have said this to me when I was, earlier on in my language learning journey. Okay, I will see you guys next time. Love you. Bye.